Here we go, guys. This is it. This is month number 10 of our craft club, and this is all about our shimmer sprays. Now, this is just a few ideas as to what you can be creating from month number 10, shimmer ink sprays from our craft club. But what you are going to be getting is over 47 elements inside. Now, you're going to be getting your booklet. Now, with your booklet, you've got 7 techniques that you can follow along with. You've got the QR code that's going to take you to a few of the videos. But within each of the page, you've got each of the step-by-step when it comes to the written and the pictorial on how you can then follow and achieve all of those techniques. So that's your booklet. What you're then going to be getting is your 3 shimmer sprays. You're then going to be getting your celestial map. You're then also going to be getting your gold dust, and you're also going to be getting your deep seashell pink. These are the 3 50ml spray bottles that you're going to be getting from your month number 10 craft club, which is all about the shimmer sprays. What we're then going to be giving you is a pot, 25ml pot of your gold purple glitter paste. You're going to be able to do resist effects when it comes to the glitter paste with the shimmer sprays. So that's in there. Then what we're going to be giving you is all of the extras for you to then create and follow along with the techniques. You're going to be getting your stencils. Now, you're going to get a couple of these stencils here. You're going to get a larger one and a smaller one. Now, when it comes to that smaller one, you've got that gorgeous sort of mandala feel. Then when it comes to your largest one, you've got all of these individual sections that you can cherry pick from. So you've got all those options there when it comes to the techniques as well. Not only that, we're then going to be giving you clear stamps. Now, within these clear stamps, not only have you got some sentiments, you've then got some of your backdrops. You've got the backgrounds and you've got that gorgeous fairy as well for you to then add extra texture. That's in there when it comes to the clear stamps. When it comes to those ones as well, you're going to be getting that full sheet. Not only that, we're then going to be giving you your die cut designs. Now, this is a mix of a silhouette with the stag, but it's also giving you moon and some sentiments. So you can see that is your really strong black matte cardstock. That's already done for you. You can then, of course, come along and use your shimmer sprays to spritz over the top, but you've got those in there. You've then got the moon, which are all laser cut. You just need to pop them out. Then what we're also going to be giving you is we're going to be giving you some of your laser cut sentiments. It says, "Hello, beautiful." It's all one word. You've got 3 of them there, but you can snip them if you so wish. What we're then going to be giving you is your marker pen. Now, it's not just any marker pen. This is your white pigment marker pen from Spectrum Noir. That's your 9mm nib at the top there. That's included. Then for you to do lots of different tag techniques, we're giving you a whole pack of these tags. Now, these are 6x3, you're getting 6 of them, and these are on our top quality watercolor cardstock, so that's in there. We're then giving you some black cardstock as well, for you to either layer or for you to then spritz onto. Now, when it comes to that one, you're going to get all of these. Now, these ones here are your 12-piece, these are your black, and these are included as well. So they're in there. Then what we're going to be giving you, last but by no means least, we're going to be giving you some watercolor card. So once again, this is for you to do all your different water-based technique with the shimmer sprays. These ones are also 6x4 and you're getting 6 of them as well. So these ones are all included, all 6 of these ones for you to do lots and lots of different techniques with. So that's all included. That's in from month number 10 Craft Club, all about the shimmer sprays. Now, whether you want to do different techniques when it comes to things such as the glitter paste, you can do that. Maybe you want to come along and do simple cards, easel cards, maybe you want to do twisted easels, home decor, all those different things you can be doing. But that's everything that you are getting, all 47 elements, all combined within our brand new Craft Club. This is month number 10, and it's all about our shimmer sprays. Now, when it comes to our craft club, this of course is month number 10, and it's all about our shimmer spray inks. We can be making something like this. Now we're going to keep it very, very simple for this card here, and this card is going to start off with the watercolour sheets that you get included. So what we're going to do is we're just going to lay that down onto our glass mat. You can use a craft mat if you want to, but I'm just going to go in with my glass mat. I've got some water and I've also got paintbrush. The other thing that I'm going to be using is the deep seashell pink and also the celestial map. So these two here, we're going to then do a little bit of a spritz onto our glass mat. So I've already given them a bit of a shake, but you can then do that, of course, just before you get started. And then I'm going to spritz onto my glass mat. So we're going to do a nice 2-3 spritz. We're going to do the same here as well. So once we've got them on, what we can then do is start to do our backdrop. While I'm also at this stage here, I'm also going to bring in one of the laser cut sentiments that are included. This is also on a watercolour cardstock, so you can do lots of different techniques. So we're going to use that in a second, but let's go in first of all with our water brush. So I've just got my water brush, dabbed it into the water, and let's go into the seashell pink. For this one, we're then going to go over the top. So we're going to come all the way down, maybe about halfway. We're going to go in. We're just going to come to that halfway point. I'm going to go in a little bit more heavier handed at the top, and that's it. That's all that I'm doing. Really, really simple. I'm then going to go back into my water and just take a lot of that colour off. I'm then going to come in just with either a microfiber cloth or a bit of a kitchen roll, something like that. Dab that excess off, and then what we're going to do is we're then going to go into now our additional celestial colour. This time we're going to go into the middle, and we're going to come all the way down once again. So we're just going to go and blend back and forwards. That's it. That's all that we're doing. We're going to go back into our water. We're going to clean off our brush. We're going to take some of that excess water off just onto your little kitchen roll or microfiber cloth. And then what we're doing is we're going to start to blend these two together. So we're just going to cross over to that midway point, and then we're going to start to blend upwards. I'm going to take some of that excess off my glass mat, and then what we're going to do is we're going to blend all the way down. So if you've got any little areas that you've got little finger prints, anything like that, you can always just go in with a pokey tool, hold down, and then once again we can just go back in, and then we can then start to blend them in together. What will happen then is that will then start to dry. Now you can heat set it if you want to, but if you then heat set it, it'll start to bend and buckle, which is absolutely fine. Just heat it from the back. That's then going to flatten it out. But we're going to sit it there for a second, and then while we're here, we're going to go in with our little sentiment that we've got. And we're going to do exactly what we've done a moment ago. The only difference is I'm going to turn it on its side. I'm going to take some of that excess water off. We're going to go in, and then I'm going to start just to the left-hand side. And I'm maybe only going to come about a quarter of the way in. Clean that off my brush, dab that excess off, and then we're going to go into the seashell. And we're going to do exactly the same. We're just going to go in and then take some of that excess off. Dab off the water from your brush, and then we're just going to go into the middle, and we're just going to blend that in together. Once you've done both of those points, what we can then do is then move that in. Now, of course, because we've gone in with our shimmer spray and our water, be careful, it is delicate, but what you're then going to get is that incredible shimmer as it dries. Now, of course, don't waste this. Keep doing that with different techniques until you've used it all up. But in the meantime, we're just going to clean that out the way. I'm going to put that there. I'm going to bring this in. What I am going to do is going to come in with my actual heat tool, just so that you can see. I've got one already dried and ready, but I just want you to see, even within real time, after a really short amount of time, you start to get the actual shimmer bouncing through, and it's that gold shimmer from the colour. So we're just going to heat set that one, and then I'm going to do the same with this one here. We're just going to start to heat this one up. So as then that starts to heat up, this one's also starting to just start to curl over just that little bit more. So don't worry, we're just going to turn it over. We're just then going to heat it from the back. If you're using your heat tool, what we can always just do is just hold that down with our pokey tool or tweezers or the other end of your paintbrush, just so that you don't capture your finger with the heat. But that is it. That's all that we need to do when it comes to both of these components here. So if I start to tilt that, you're going to start to see we're going to get that shimmer bouncing off both colours, and then you're going to get exactly the same when it comes to that Hello Beautiful. Now you can go in quite light, like I've done here with more of a subtle pastel tone, but then if you keep building up that colour, so if you go in a little bit more heavier handed, you're going to then get a stronger intensity, not only from the two colours, but from that shimmer with the gold as well. And you can see that gold bouncing. That will happen with that one. You just need to leave that to dry just that little bit longer. Then it's a case of building up your card. So I've brought in my card blank. So my card blank's 4.5 by 6.5. And we're going to take our layer here. Now this one I've already got my tape onto the back. You can of course use your tape runner if you want to, but I'm just going to take all these off, and I'm using my own bit of white multi-purpose cardstock. That's then just going to sit over the top there, where I've given myself a really fine little frame. That one we're going to add onto the black. Now the black that I've used is also from my own stash. I've not used what you've got within Craft Club because I wanted the layer to be a little bit bigger, so therefore I've used my own black matte cardstock. That is then our layers done. Look at that shimmer bouncing off your card. That can then get added onto our card blank. Now, as I said before, card blank's 4.5 by 6.5 inches, and what I've also done is a top fold card or a 10 fold card. We're then going to go in with the seashell pink towards the top. I'm going to press that in. Then what I've done, using a couple of bits of the excess black card that I had left, I've created some little strips here. Just gone in, cut little strips, and gone in at a little bit of an angle. That's then going to go to the left-hand side here. I'm then going to go in with a smaller one, and with a smaller one, that's then going to go to the right-hand side of it, like so. I've then gone in another bit with the black there. Now I've gone in 3.5 inches by 1.5, and I've just gone at a little angle and gone in and added a little bit of a matting layer from my white multi-purpose. We're then going to add that one onto my card blank. So we're just going to go into the side that you can see just here. We're just going to press that in to the position that we've got there, and then we're going to go in with that Hello Beautiful. Because this is really quite delicate, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go in and I'm going to be using my tacky glue for this one. So let's add in our tacky glue. So we're just going to go over the back. So we're just going to get the glue going. We're just going to add that nicely to the back. Now I'm just going to add just a little bit to the back of my hand. I don't have the little fine nozzle for this one. So either pop your glue onto your glass mat and then you can then start to dab onto the back, or if you're okay when it comes to the glue on the back of your hand, you can just dab that on, pick it up. You can use your dotty tape runner if you want, but do be careful because it's really, really fine and really, really delicate. So we're just going to then pick that one up. That's then going to sit into position. So we're just going to then go in, hold, press. Once we've got that into place, we're going to press that in. And once that's grabbed, there we go. What I've also done is I've just created my own blank insert inside with a little bit of white multi-purpose, black card ready to stamp once we know who we're going to be giving that to. And that is one of the projects, one of the cards that you can be making when it comes to our craft club. It's month number 10 and it is all about our shimmer sprays. Now, one of our incredible techniques that you can do and follow when it comes to Craft Club month number 10, and it's all about the Shimmer ink sprays, is this gorgeous nighttime sky. Look at that, and you know what? It's incredibly simple for you to then follow. So, to start with, what we're going to do is we're going to bring in a piece of that black cardstock that you get included. Now, for that one, we're going to use the Gold Dust Shimmer Spray. So we're going to give that a light shake. Then what we're going to do is we're just then going to give it a spritz. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to come a little bit further up because I don't want it to be a nice mist of a shimmer spray. I'm going to go in just with a couple of pumps to get that going, and then I'm just going to go in just with a light spritz. So I've got a couple of kind of like big globules that you can see just there. So that's exactly what we're wanting. Then with the next one, sticking with that same one, we're then going to be going in with the deep seashell pink. Let's give that a shake to then, of course, get all of that shimmer circulating all the way around. And then for this one, we do want to go quite heavy with the spritz. So we're just going to go in over the top, and then we'll be able to see here, we're then going to start to build up the depth. Now, we do have a lot of that seashell pink just shining through, and it'll all become apparent more once we have then gone in and dried it. At this point, we're now going to go into the third one. We're going to go into the celestial maps, and we're going to then give that a light little shake. Then we're going to go in and we're going to spritz that one too. So we're going to spritz that over the top. What we're then going to do is we're then going to go in with some water. So I've got some water and a paintbrush here. So if we then go, and then we're just going to take some of that excess off. I'm going to, well, I would hold with my finger. If you want to hold with your actual pokey tool, you can do. But what we're doing is we're just going to dab around, just with our wet paintbrush. We're just going to dab and we're going to twist and turn. Twist and turn, I'm going to pick up some more of that celestial map from my glass mat. Twisting and turning. So we're wanting to have a bit like a deep space sort of effect when it comes to the backdrop. Once we've done that, if you want to go in and add more of the celestial maps, you can do. But then if I start to tilt that one, we're starting to see the shimmer just as it lightly dries. But let's do it a little bit more drying so that you can see how that looks. So we're just going to go straight over the top. Now, because we've gone in with the shimmer ink, which is water-based, plus our water brush with the water, it is then going to bend and bow when it comes to that cardstock. Don't worry though, because what will happen is it will flatten out. So we're just going to then dry that off. I've got one that's completely dry, but I want you to see it in real time, how it looks once you've dried it and once that shimmer starts to take effect. And as you can see here, it's actually starting to flatten. As it's drying, it's flattening, so then you're going to that incredible, nice, flat, smooth surface. And that is all that we're going to do when it comes to that backdrop. So if I tilt that for that to capture, how fab does that? And you can go in even more with that celestial maps if you want. But before we go any further, we're going to go in with our Spectrum Noir white pigment pen. That, of course, comes included as well when it comes to month number 10. Now, I've not used this one yet, so what we're going to do is we're going to shake to wake. So we're going to give that a good shake. Get all of that white pigment ink all the way around, or the paint, I should say. And then what we're doing is we need to come in to the actual nib. So the nib is white, however, there's no white pigment paint there at the moment. So we need to then start to pump it up and down. So we need to get that paint popping all the way through. So we're going to keep going until it starts to come through onto our glass mat, which I can see just here. And then you can either tap on the back of your hand, that you can see here. If you find that a little bit too sore when it comes to your finger, you can do that off the back of something like a ball tool or a paintbrush, or what you can just do is just go in and just dab. Just dab, and don't worry about it being perfect circles. You don't want it to be perfect circles. We just want to have all of these dots. These are then going to dry incredibly strong with that white against that gold and that shimmer. And that, once again, is all that we're going to do. So as that then starts to dry, what you can do is you can play with the levels of the shimmer sprays. And what I mean by that is if I bring this one in here, and I've gone in even more with, of course, that seashell pink and the celestial maps. So for at this point, what I do need to do before we finish our card, we just need to clean off our glass mat so that I don't get any of that transfer to my card blank. All of that I've wiped off there, you can come along with more of your watercolor card and start to do lots of different effects, start to lift it with your paintbrush so that you're not wasting any of it. But of course, I don't have that luxury of time. So we're just going to clean all that off. And now what we can start to do is build a really, really simple card. And that's the thing about these, simple, because you're letting all of the shimmer do the shouting for you. So now that we've got our layer, what I'm then going to do is matte and layer that onto a very fine white matte and layer. I've done the same with another bit of black, and the black that I've used for this matte and layer is my own black matte cardstock. So if we then bring that in to position here, and the white matte and layer is going to complement not only the black inky shimmer background, but all of the white dots that we've done. That black layer, just so that you know, is 4 1/4 by 6 1/4. And then we're going to come in with our card blank. Now my card blank is 5 by 7. I've gone in with a piece of white multi-purpose. The white multi-purpose is 4 3/4 by 6 3/4. And I've given myself a very light black matte and layer as well. Frames off your work, it frames off the shimmer, and then what it'll also do is frame off the sentiment when we use that in a moment. So that one is going to sit nicely right within the middle, giving us another fine white border. We're going to bring back in our shimmer layer. We're going to add some foam pads. So if I bring the foam pads in here, I've only got small ones, and that doesn't matter, because what you need to do, make sure we've got them in all corners. I also like to put one within the middle. So let's pop that one onto there. And then I like to come all the way throughout the center, making sure you've at least got a couple that is kind of anchoring that back of the layer. So if you don't have large, don't ever worry, you can still use your small. Just make sure that you've got a nice kind of coverage onto the back. Let's peel these ones off. Alternatively, keep it flat, or of course go in with your glue gel. That is then going to sit right into the middle here, pressing that in so it's nice, strong and sturdy. Then what I've also done is using one of those sentiment stamps. I've gone with Over the Moon for You, stamped that onto a bit of my own white multi-purpose and given myself a black matte and layer. That's then going to come into position onto my card. So for that, we're going to come just to the right hand side, and I'm just overlapping ever so slightly. And then we're just going to come in with one of our laser cut moons that we can see here, popped it out, pop some foam pads onto the back, and then that's going to go and add right next to our sentiment. But not only that, is it's kind of going to curve around the sentiment. It's going to kind of hug our sentiment. So we're going to bring that in to the side, just there, press it in, and then there we go. There is our 5 by 7, beautiful, kind of like that night sky effect with our white pigment pen. That's using all 3 of the shimmer sprays, and that's one of the projects that you could be making from our craft club. It's month number 10, and it's all about our shimmer sprays. Right, when it comes to our craft club, we can use lots of different textures when it comes to month number 10 shimmer sprays, and we can do cards such as this one here. Now this one is using the stencil and using that glitter paste as well. So let's dive in and let's get started. And where we're going to start is that watercolor card that you've got included. Now I'm going to go in with the big stencil, and the big stencil, we're going to go in, that one there, it's kind of like the teardrop effect that we've got here, or the scaled effect. And we're going to pop that down. Now if you've got our repositionable sprays, you can use that, or you can, I'm going to turn it that way just to make it easier for myself, you can go in with your low tack tape, hold it down. If you want to mask off the surrounding edge, you can absolutely do that, but I'm just going to keep it as it is, because you don't have to be overly neat when it comes to this effect. We're going to go in with a glitter paste, so this is the gold purple 25ml tub that you get included. Now I've got my lid on. What I would recommend is do keep that foil lid as much as you can, because that's going to help for you to then just have longevity when it comes to any of the glitter paste that's remaining. And then I'm going to go in with a spatula here. It could be an old bone folder, it could be an old gift card, something with a smooth, straight edge. And then what we're going to do is we're just going to pick some of that up. We're going to start at the top, and then we're just going to start to pull and travel down. Don't worry if you get any glitter paste on the surrounding edge, maybe it's transferred through to any of the other design, because we will in the end come along and we will then chop it down into a little square. So once you've got that into all of the little apertures of the design, we're going to scrape that excess back in. Any residual glitter paste, pop it back in. Close that lid, give it a good turn so you know that it's strong, tight, and you're not going to waste any once it dries up. And the key thing as well, whatever you're using, make sure you take all that excess off as well, otherwise it will stay in place. Once we've done that transfer through, what we're going to be left with, and it's harder to see at first, but we're going to be left with that glitter paste. Now we can see that texture effect that you've got. Before we go any further, the other thing that you need to do quite instantly anyway, and that is take any of the excess off, because that will also dry onto your stencil. So you just want to make sure you take all that excess away off your glass mat, and then we're just going to take that residual glitter paste off the back, and then you're ready to crack on. So once we've done that one, you do need to let that dry. So I've gone in and I've done one that I've done before. Now the only difference is that one has dried. We can then come along with two of our sprays here. So I've got my deep seashell pink, and I'm also going to go in with the gold dust that we can see here. Giving them a light shake just to activate all of that sparkle. Then we're going to go in with the deep seashell pink, and we're going to spritz. So we're going to spritz over the top. We're then going to go in with the gold dust, and we're going to spritz in as well. We can go in and you can spritz into all the nooks and crannies when it comes to the actual glitter paste background. And then what we can do as much or as little as you want, it's entirely up to yourself. We're going to come in, we want to start to heat set that. Now if you can do it at room temperature, great, but if you want to use your heat tool, you can absolutely do that as well. And all that I'm doing to start with is I'm not going to completely dry it straight away. I'm going to, start that drying process, and then I'm going to pause for a moment. I'm going to come in with a bit of kitchen roll, or it could be microfiber cloth, anything like that, and I'm going to just dab little bits. What's going to happen is that's going to take the colour off of the glitter, so you can see that glitter background. We've got that incredible design because the actual shimmer is starting to stick to the cardstock, but it's been resisted by that non-porous surface, which is your glitter background. Then at this point, what we can do is when we can go in, and then we can then start to heat set the remaining of the layers. So we're just going to keep going and going until that's then completely dried. And with the shimmer sprays, you can go quite light. If you want to intensify that and add even more of that deep seashell pink, you can absolutely do that. But that is it, looking at one designed layer within a subtle feel. But then what about going really strong with the actual deep seashell pink? And all that I've done with that one is chopped it down to 3.5 by 3.5 inches. So that one I can leave to dry, and I can use that again another time. We're going to take all this excess spray off my glass mat. Of course, use any of that excess within your watercolour cardstock, don't waste it. But what we can then do at this point is bring back in our layer. Now we've got that we've already cut now to the square that we want. I'm going to come in with my guillotine or your paper trimmer, although your guillotine will be best because we're going to go through the cardstock and the glitter paste layer that's dried, and we're going to go corner to corner and cut. So we've got our cut, we've got our two triangles. I'm also then going to bring in my little sentiment. So I've used one of our stitched edge nesting dies, 2.5 inches by 2.5 inches. Leave a little sparkle. That's one of the sentiments that you get within the set. And I'm going to go in with the actual gold dust. I'm going to go quite high up and just light little spritz for us to get just a light little speckle of the glitter shine all the way through from the shimmer. We're going to heat set that one. So heat setting each time. So you're either going to heat set it for you to continue with your project, or do all these layers and then just leave them to dry at room temperature, whatever one that you've got the time to do. So once that's then all dried off, we can then move that to the side. I'm going to come along once again, move that out the way, take any of that excess that you'll use up, dry that off, and then we're going to come in with our card blank. And this is a lovely little small card blank that we're doing here. And this one, it's 5 by 5. I've gone in with a piece of white multi-purpose, and this is 4 3/4 by 4 3/4, and I've given myself a very light black matting layer. And the black that I've used is from our black matte cardstock. So I've not used the black that you get included, used my own. That's then going to go over the top, like so. Press that in. And then from our 2 triangles, what I've also done myself is just a couple of matting layers that we can see here. Fine matting layer. So the actual black I have cut as a square, just a little bit bigger than the 3 1/4, and then cut in half, and I've done the same with the white. What we then do is we're going to bring in our either your tape runner, or I'm going to go in with my tacky glue here, and we're going to apply this to the back. So this one we're going to keep flat, because the main base of this layer I have pop foam pads on. So let's press that in, line that up, and hold it in. Then we're going to do the same with our next one. We're going to go in to the back with our glue or your own adhesive of choice. Press that in, and with the tacky glue we can move that into place, wiggle it in. When we're in, press, hold, and then let's just press once again both layers, and that's us with our design. And then before we start to assemble, I've gone in with the next level up when it comes to my stitched edge nesting circle. That's then going to go over the top onto our black layer that I've cut out. Pop that one over the top, press that in, move that in if you're using your tacky glue, and then we can then assemble. So when it comes to these, I've gone in with my foam pads onto the back here. This is one that works really, really well if you've got dimension to it with the foam pads, because we've got that tactile feel from the glitter paste. That's then going to go over the back. So that's then going to come into the corner. So we've then got our top fold card at the top. Press that in. We're then going to go into the back to the here with the foam pads, taking these ones off, or you can use your glue gel if you want. That's then going to go into that top corner here. Press that in, and then when it comes to this one within the middle, what we're going to do is we're then going to go in with our foam pads onto the back here. That's going to sit nice and central in the middle, leave a little sparkle, and then there we go. I've gone in the front of the card, I've added just a little insert into the middle, ready for you to stamp or write your sentiment, and then there we go. We've got our leave a little sparkle that is using some of the shimmer sprays. We've then used 2 of them, as well as that glitter paste with the stencil, finished off making a beautiful little sparkle card. And that is one that you could be making from our craft club, month number 10, and it's all about the shimmer sprays. Now, when it comes to month number 10, this is all about the shimmer spray. Now, of course, it is from our craft club. We could be using one of the pre-cut scenes to create that gorgeous, beautiful effect when it comes to the shimmer sprays. Really, really simple to create as well. So let's get started. And we're going to get started with our watercolor cardstock. Now, with our watercolor cardstock, we're keeping it the size that we've got, and we're going to go in with our celestial map. For that, we're going to spritz direct onto our card. So we're just going to spritz it over the back, and that's it. And then what we can then do is we can then bring in our deep seashell pink, and we're then also going to bring in our gold dust as well. So we're going to start in with the deep seashell pink. And that, we're going to give it a light shake, and then we're going to spritz that one onto our glass mat. And we're just going to go in with our gold dust, and we're going to spritz onto our glass mat. For this one, we're going to come in with some water and a paintbrush. So I'm going to go and pop my paintbrush into the water. I'm going to pick up that seashell, and then what we're going to do is we're going to start to create a little bit of a backdrop skyline. So we're going to go picking it up with our brush, and then we're just going to start to dab that in and blend it in. Take some of that excess off, start to blend that in, and we're going to keep going back and forth, adding that effect when it comes to the seashell pink. I'm going to come down just that little bit more to the base just here. We'll end up trimming this to a square, so don't worry about being overly neat or precise. So we're just going to take all of that seashell pink off our paintbrush, and we're going to go into the gold dust. And then with the gold dust, we're going to start to do exactly the same. So we're going to dab that on, take that excess off, go in with more of that gold and starting to blend that in. Each time just taking any of that cross-contamination of colour off, just so that we can then get a nice strong gold onto the backdrop. Just going to blend that in, and then what we can then do is take our brush, take that excess off, just where we've got any kind of light little white spots, we can just go in and start to blend all that in so that we've got no white space. Now, if you've got white space, don't worry, it can still look effective, but for this one, I don't want any of that white. I just want to have that backdrop that we can start to see how it starts to come together. Then we're going to go in with our heat tool. So we're going to heat set it, bring in our heat tool, and then we're just going to start to dry that off, because this is really going to activate that shimmer when it comes to the shimmer sprays. What it's also doing is it's going to nicely blend the three together. And for this, as all of our shimmer sprays, what you can start to do is you can start to intensify certain colours. You might want to go a lot more stronger when it comes to the seashell. You might then want to, of course, go a lot more heavy-handed when it comes to the gold dust, of course. But then we're just going to go in, we're just going to keep drying that off into place just here. And then that's all that I'm going to do. That's all that we're going to do. We're going to take all that excess off. You're going to use it up, of course, but I'm going to take all that off. And then we're going to be left with a shimmery background. Just a little bit wet, but of course you'll go and dry it off completely. I'm then going to bring in the one. So all that I've done is I've just chopped it down. And we can see here how I've gone in a little bit stronger with the gold dust. And that's exactly what you can do. You can go stronger, you can go lighter. It's up to yourself. But either way, I've cut it down to 4x4. And the reason I've done it to 4x4 is that is essentially the size of our die cut silhouette. Now, because we've got our watercolour card, I'm going to go and I'm going to use my actual tacky glue. So for this one, we're going to go onto the back. And the good thing is you can have it either way, whichever way that you want. So we're just going to add in that glue onto the back, and we're just going to dab all that way around. So we're just going to dab it lightly all the way around, sketching over that backdrop, because of course we want the glue to spread, which it will do once we press. So we're just going to go and we're going to add all the way around the stag, round the base. We're then popping that into position just here. We're going to move that in, and then if you find that your cardstock is just that little bit bigger, then we can just take our scissors or your guillotine and trim that excess. So I've got a little bit that's just overhanging onto the top. So trim there, and then I've just got a little bit there as well. And then that is our phenomenal, beautiful shimmer backdrop when it comes to that stag. And all that we need to do is keep it simple when it comes to forming your card. So we're going to add that to the back. So let's bring in our tape runner here. So I'm going to add my tape all the way around the back into here. We're going to mat and layer that onto a fine piece of white multi-purpose, which is then also layered onto a little bit of black, and set that one to the side. I'm going to go in with my card blank here. So I've got my 5.5 by 5.5 card blank, my white multi-purpose 5 1/4 by 5 1/4, and by popping my tape on the back, or your glue, or your tape runner, whatever's personal preference, we're going to add that onto a fine black matting layer. That's then going to go onto our card blank that we can see just there. Bring back in our image of the stag. We're going to take our pads off the back because we want extra height when it comes to this one, because it's going to act and it's going to work really well with the Starry Night shimmer backdrop. We're going to set that into the middle. And then what I've done is where you've got your die cut sentiment. So you can see there that we've got hello. Now that was part of Hello Beautiful. And all that I've done is just lightly fussy cut along the bottom. So I've now got just the hello. And that one we're going to add our tacky glue to the back. And when it comes to the leftover where it says beautiful, I'll show you that one in a moment as to what I've done with it. So let's go in with hello, and that, let's go down to the left hand side. We're not putting any colour to it, I'm keeping it within that natural white that it is. Using the tacky glue, it means it will dry completely clear. And then there we go, we've got our finished card, 5.5 by 5.5. Add a little blank insert for you to then write or then pop your own sentiment in. So that is the white version. If you'd done exactly what I've done a moment ago, but also done the speckles when it comes to your white pigment pen, and there is the other side of the sentiment, the beautiful. You've got the two, so it's following exactly the same, but just onto the black cardstock. But there we go. There's another incredibly beautiful card and project that you can be making from our craft club. It's month number 10, and it's all about our incredible shimmer sprays.